We are live. Oh, that's a new one. That just came out. Morning, everybody. Day 12, and it's Friday. Most people's favourite day of the week, I was going to say, but that's probably an overgeneralisation. Morning, Sal. I am very ready for it to be Friday. We've got a nice flow today, so we're going to go just move through it, nice pace, nice and consistent all the way through, and yeah, hopefully that'll be nice and enjoyable for you as we go into the weekend. I've had an eventful 24 hours. We won't dwell. I went from booking a ski holiday, which is great, super excited about that, to accidentally going viral on TikTok overnight. When I woke up, went on and the notifications just went mental. And yeah, I mean, I had work anxiety for today, but now I've got so much more anxiety. So the app is firmly closed and we won't be revisiting that for some time. But it's all good. Morning, everyone. I can see you all joining. It's so nice to have you. I was just saying earlier, we're going to have a nice gentle flow today. It's going to kind of move at, not like pace, like quick, but like we're going to move at a nice pace, like constantly moving. And yeah, hopefully that'll be nice and enjoyable for everyone on a Friday. Setting everybody up into the weekend well. So I might just get started. I'm going to try my hardest again to stick to 10 minutes. I know I've been going over the last couple of classes. But for good reason. We were explaining things and learning new poses and stuff. So this morning, as always, let's just come to our own comfortable seat. Just finding whatever feels best for you. And like I say, you can do this bit lying down. I just want to find somewhere that we can get nice and centered. Bring everything inwards. And just start to focus on the breath. If you do have cross leg or you're maybe sat on the knees, maybe just letting the hands fall in the lap or maybe resting them on your knees. And just begin to come into that stillness. Just noticing the sounds around you. Noticing how you feel. Noticing but not changing your breath just yet. Is it in the belly or is it in the chest? And then maybe if it feels comfortable for you, just begin to lengthen those inhales and exhales. Maybe introducing the inhales through the nose. And just like we did yesterday, it's completely optional. I just invite you to think about if you'd like to set an intention for yourself, maybe for today, for this weekend, or maybe just for the next 10 minutes of this practice. That might be just to be kind to yourself. Might be to try and sit in a more peaceful state. But whatever it is, just kind of whisper it quietly to yourself. No one else is around, no one can hear. And then when you're ready, just keeping a hold of that breath, those longer inhales and exhales, just blinking the eyes open. And then we're just going to come to tabletop position, so all fours, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Knees underneath the hips. Just going to take some nice gentle cat-cows this morning. So take them in line with your own breath. But just as a reminder, as you inhale, you're just going to release that belly. And as you inhale, we're going to send the chin up towards the ceiling. And then with your exhales, we're going to really press into the mat. Arching through that back, maybe bringing the chin into the chest. Inhaling, dropping the belly. Exhaling, reversing that movement. Maybe pressing into the tops of the feet. Maybe tucking the toes. Just take some in line with your own breath. And then we're going to meet just with a neutral spine here in tabletop position. So we did this one the other day. Just begin to bring your focus into your left hand. Start to kind of shift your weight over towards your left hand. Looking down at the mat, trying to find a point to focus on. There might be a bit of fluff on the floor, maybe a pattern on the rug, a spot somewhere on your mat that you can look at. And then as you shift your weight over into that left hand, just reaching out in front of you with the right hand. Sending the tips of the fingers out in front of you. Think really long. Think about the crown of the head, nice and long through the spine. And then same thing with the knees. Just bringing the weight into that right knee. As maybe you gently lift that left leg off the ground. Engaging through the core, pressing down into the mat. Keeping the foot flexed so the toes are pointing down towards the mat. And then on your next inhale, we're just going to do this for 1 rep, just see how it feels. Bringing that right elbow and that left knee into the centre of the body. And then as you exhale, sending them right back out again. Sending that heel out behind you, those fingertips out in front of you. And then as you're ready, just releasing that hand back down to the mat and the knee back down. Just take out any nice movement you need here before we move it to the other side. So just putting all of that weight this time over towards that right hand, really pressing down, pushing into the mat. Remembering those spider hands with the fingers splayed nice and wide. Give you extra balance. Finding your breath. It's easy to let your breath go here when you're thinking about so much stuff. And then as you're ready, just bringing that left hand off the mat. Really reaching forwards, gazing down at that spot you found. Bringing the weight into that left knee. And maybe, if it feels okay, lifting that right leg off the ground. Flexing through the foot, pointing the toes down towards the ground. Press through your heel out behind you. Reach forwards, nice long spine. If it feels okay, bringing that right knee, left elbow to touch in the middle. And then send them straight back out long. Before bringing them back down onto the mat. Oh, well, I'm a little bit warmer after that. So now, we did this too the other day. I'm tongue-tied this morning. Just for a second, don't worry, we're not going to spend any extended amount of time here. We're going to make our way to the top of the mat. If downward facing dog is not for you, absolutely find your own way to the top of the mat. We will meet you there. If you're going to find downward facing dog, all we're going to do is tuck the back toes, and we're only going to be here for a second. Really press into the hands, really push the heels towards the butt, what am I talking about? Push the heels down to the ground, pressing your hips up towards the sky, bending the knees generously as you need. And then with those bent knees, we're just going to take baby steps towards the top of the mat. And then with the knees still nice and bent, we're just going to let everything hang real heavy. Super slowly, we're going to begin to roll up. Keep your chin tucked, because we're going to lift the chin as the very last thing. And coming into mountain pose, into Tadasana. Just taking a minute here Maybe if you set that intention, just revisiting it for a second. And then as you inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead, following with your gaze, looking up at those thumbs. As you exhale, sending your arms down to the mat, really bending through the knees. Think about bringing your belly onto your thighs, finding that forward fold. Let's inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back position if we can balance something on the back. Hands on the shins or maybe on the thighs, and tucking those elbows nice and tightly into the body. And then as you exhale, sending it down, planting the hands down on the mat. Just come to tabletop position for a second before gently lowering everything down to come on to the belly. Moving into Sphinx pose, that we looked at the other day as well. So bringing your elbows underneath your shoulders as you inhale, pressing into the hands, opening through the chest, broadening through those shoulders, sending them back behind you. Maybe the shoulder blades come to touch, spidering through the hands as you really try and pull the mat towards you. Pull yourself along the mat. Press into the tops of the feet or with the toes tucked. And then as you exhale, letting everything come back down to the mat. Press through the hands. Let's find child's pose for a few nice breaths here. Maybe forehead comes to the mat, or maybe you've got a cushion or a block, something you can rest your head on. And again, another really nice time to revisit that intention. On your next inhale, just pulling the head back up, pressing through the hands. We're just going to come into tabletop position just to transition. Swing the legs around and come to lie on your back. We're just going to find a nice big hug here. So bending the knees, bringing them into your chest. Maybe taking hold of each hand to grip around. And then just taking some nice gentle movement here. Maybe from left to right. Just massaging the lower back. You can use your knees to draw circles. Maybe one way and then the other. I always selfishly put this one in because it's my fave. And then as and when you're ready, we're just going to take the legs out long. We're going to find Shavasana for our final resting pose. But finding maybe a comfortable seat. If Shavasana doesn't feel comfortable for you. And just let everything grow really heavy. Think about letting yourself melt down into the ground. Releasing any tension in the ankles, through the wrists and the shoulders, any tension in the face. Let your tongue grow really heavy inside your mouth. And releasing that deep, elongated inhale and exhale. Just let your breath return back to normal. And maybe for the final time, revisiting your intention if you set one. Or maybe just acknowledging that you showed up again for yourself. Thanking yourself in your own little way. And I will leave you here. But as I always say, if you have the time and you'd like to, maybe just staying here for another 5-10 minutes or so. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be here again tomorrow, day 13. See you for Saturday's morning practice.